Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he is totally naked from the waist down.
I'm here with Mantas, or Jeff Dunn, from Venom Inc. and Venom, of course. Really glad you've agreed to do this, so yeah, thanks for coming on today.
No problem. No problem.
Bro, so I'm just going to, I thought I'd kind of start in the beginning, really. I know you've probably answered these things a million times, but just to touch on the early days and the kind of sound. I think many know you're really the band that was seen as the ones who started black metal. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it just, I've got to say, it does make me giggle a little bit when I see these debates on who started black metal. It's
Yeah.
like, right, here's the question for you. What would the genre be called if we didn't have a song and an album called black metal? And if we didn't say we are black metal, right?
That's it, yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, do you know what it is? I've had so many questions and so many sort of debates about it. And it's like, oh, come on, man. I mean, people say about Bathory and all this. It's like, okay, Bathory. So where did he get that name from? Countess Bathory by any chance? It's like, I mean, the first, like, I've got no disrespect to these people whatsoever. I mean, Chuck Schuldiner, the band, what did he have? It was called Mantas.
Really? Yeah, of course.
And there's all this, the evidence is damning right across the board, and I mean, it's like I say, total respect to these people. And another thing I've said quite often now is, I have no idea what these people's music is like. I've never listened to a Bathory
That's really cool.
I've never listened to a Death track. I've never listened to a Bathory track. If you played me one right now and said, who's this band, I would not be able to tell you. And that's the honest truth. I mean, I'm old school. I'm still steeped in Judas Priest and, old stuff. But I mean, the one thing that I can say that I'm proud of, regardless of what's happened in the name of black metal, is that the genre continues today. Albeit it's vastly different from what we started. Our sort of our thing with saying, we are black metal. It was youthful arrogance. It was us trying to alienate ourselves from the mainstream.
Yeah,
we wanted to individualize ourselves. We wanted, rightly or wrongly, and like I say, youthful arrogance it was. Really, we wanted to be leaders rather than followers.
Yeah.
And what the bands preceding us did, post Venom, and sort of we came out and said we are black metal to an answer from a journalist who said, well, if you're not heavy metal, what are you? Because the press back then, they just wanted to pigeonhole you left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And that's where we said that we're black metal. So the song was written, the album was already there. But like I say, these bands that followed us, they basically did what we did to our heroes. The Motorheads, the Sabbath, the Priests, the Kids, they took all of that. Well, we took all of that and tried to make it heavier, faster, dirty, blah, 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 I seen a great interview. Somebody posted it. I think it was from 1982. And it was us. It was the original lineup of Venom at the BBC studios in Newcastle.
Right.
1982. And I mean, we just looked like fetuses, to be
perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
And we were so fucking arrogant, but the majority of the arrogance was coming from me, and it was like, at one point I said, people are going to turn around and say, oh, here's another band who say they're the fastest, loudest, heaviest, fucking this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I looked at the camera and went, well, we are.
Yeah, I think unless you've got that confidence, I think that's a big part of, setting yourself above the rest. You've got to have the confidence and balls to say,
yeah, I mean, that was it. There was an endless supply of bullshit and bluster where we were concerned,
Yeah.
But I mean, it was, a lot of that early Venom stuff was built on myth and mystery and hype.
Yeah.
You know, and none of it would work today.
No,
None of it would. No, none of it would work
times,
today. Yeah, different times altogether. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the relationship with the press you had back then kind of helped, if anything, even though, you know, it was all sorts of press, you know, but do you think it kind of brought a bit of I don't know what the word is, but kind of attention to what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know the old saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. And you know, we had people who were firmly in our corner and flying our flag.
Yeah.
But we had people in the opposite corner waiting to destroy us, you know, who were dead against the band. There was no middle ground with us. There was no gray areas, you know. It was either, you know, you mentioned the word Venom, and people either went fuck yeah, or they went oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I never heard anybody say, yeah, they're okay, you know.
It's always.
I have done now, but in the early days, it was like. But I remember speaking to one guy. I'm sure it was after the first Hammersmith Odeon show. Just this random guy came up to me, and he actually said, I've got to admit, I fucking hate the music, but I love your image and I love the show. And he was there at Hammersmith Odeon. It was like,
crazy.
I love the show and I love the imagery and everything like that, you know. I remember a friend of mine who's now sadly passed away, but his wife, I remember going round to his house once. We used to train in Aikido together, and I went around to pick him up to go training, and went into his house. It was the first time I'd been into his house, and in the hallway there was Cradle of Filth posters all the way, all framed and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I looked, and then his wife came out, and she was a goth. I mean, full blown goth.
Right,
you know? And I just looked at her and I went, "Oh, I didn't know you were into these guys." And she went, "Oh, I fucking hate them." She said,
really?
The imagery is amazing.
Yeah. You were, you know, obviously the most influential. You know, I think your sound was so unique compared to all these other bands. You know, and kind of you did just completely, you know, make something new. And I think, yeah, no, that speaks for itself. And I was one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say before you say anything else,
Yeah.
the sound. The sound, everything like that, everything that came with that early sound was born out of ignorance.
Was it?
We didn't know shit.
No.
We didn't know shit. We'd never been in a studio before. I've read so many things where, you know, Corona said, "Oh, I produced this." I said, "Fuck off! You didn't. You knew nothing. You were a T-boy." And there's a guy called Steve Thompson who's got a great website, and he actually came out and said that he used to work at there. He was the engineer on our first single. But yeah, the whole sound thing, it was absolute ignorance. Even Keith Nicol, who recorded Welcome to Hell and Black Metal, he was the engineer for them. I'm sure he was on At War With as well. But he was the in-house engineer. And when we gained some notoriety, he used to get young bands coming in to do demos. And they used to do this thing called the 50 quid demo. You know, so bands would come in, play live, hand over 50 quid and get the demos. Yeah. He told me once when I was recording the first solo thing that I did, he said, I used to get a lot of these young bands coming in and saying, yeah, I would say, okay, then, so what's your style? What do you want to do? What do you want to sound? He says, a lot of them would go, oh, make us sound like Venom. And he said, as the engineer, I used to turn around and go, I can't. I don't know how to. Those guys come in, plug in, turn everything up to 11, and that's it.
Nice.
This is Metal Matt, King of Hearts.
You're just all alone and left to die. The last words can only be heard by you. Time took me back, and you left me all alone. No one by my side. Time took me back, but you
Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.